We are moving on to our first integration demonstration.
All right, so I'm so happy and excited to be here to show you this amazing integration, the Azure Blob integration. So first off, making sure we have a ground level set here, a foundation set. What is Azure and the Blob storage? Blob is essentially like a file system on the cloud. So similar to how your computer has the file explorer, you're able to store files there. So EXEs, TXTs, any other file extension can go up into your Blob storage. Now, why are people using it? Well, this gives you a place to connect to. It's not a singular place where all this data is. It's a place in the cloud that I can connect to from any computer and get that information, bring it down to the computer I need, or even interact with that information up in the cloud. So what I'll start off here by doing is I'll share my screen and show you the marketplace. So if you're unfamiliar with the marketplace, it's marketplaceatomic.com. You're more than welcome to go there. It is open for anyone to see. You can go here and see all the integrations and agents and other action packs that Automic has available. So there's a little overview, just going to go over just what happens in the marketplace here. A little overview of what the integration or the agent is, all the features that are available to you with this agent. And so these are features, they're going to say like, it doesn't say exactly, oh, never mind, it does, jobs. So these are all the jobs that you can use in this integration. It gives you a link to the documentation if they have different versions inside of 24. So you can see here we have a few different versions of 24 and version 21. And then lastly, the compatibility matrix. So what do you need to run this agent? Next, what we're going to do is take a look at, I have set up a workflow for us to look at with all of the job integrations for Azure. So high level, what is this job? What is it, or excuse me, what does this workflow do? Well, the workflow is going to take a file that is on the same Linux box that the agent is running on. It's going to upload that into the cloud. Then we're going to check that it made it there. We're going to make sure that it's there in the cloud storage. Then we're going to copy that file to a separate container, a blob storage, so we can have more than one blob. And then we're going to download that. While also downloading it, we're going to delete and monitor for other things. So, and we'll get more into the nitty-gritty of what those exactly are doing in here just a second. But let's first take a look at the upload. So there's a lot of things here. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, but what we do have is the connection object. So this connection object, all it takes is however you're going to connect to your Azure instance. And what does that mean? So what you're going to use is the URL or however else the Azure would like you to connect. And in this instance, what we've used is the URL to it. We also usually have a token or a certificate. I believe Azure lets you use either one. You also can use IAM permissions. So that's how you're able to connect to the Azure Blob storage. You can select your Blob type. In this case, we're using Blob. Then what we're going to do is look at the container. So the containers, so we have a blob and then there's containers. Containers are essentially folders inside of your blob. One of the most powerful things about this integration is that there's these little ellipses here. So if I had more than one container in here, you'll be able to see, it wouldn't just say Atomic Demo, it would say Atomic Demo, Atomic Demo 1, 2, 3, 4, all the different containers I can choose from. And so you can just click on the one you want and click choose, and that will place it in here. There's no need to remember, oh, what was that? I need to go back and check it. I can just, in Automic, not having to leave one place, set the container that we're using. Next, after that, what we're going to do is use this source file path. And so since this is an upload job, we're looking for the directory that we are using on the Linux box to find that TXT file. In this case, we're using TXT files for clarity, but as I mentioned earlier, you're more than welcome to upload anything. Any file you have on your computer, you're more than welcome to upload that. Now, if I wanted to upload everything inside of a folder, I wouldn't have to put this upload test.txt in there. I could just throw a little asterisk and it would upload all of them. File filters, so if I did throw an asterisk in there, I can filter for specific files inside of that directory. All right, same with this target directory here. So in your container, so container is a folder and there's folders inside your containers. So what this is essentially I have a folder named Atomic Test And this is going to place our file named upload test.txt inside this directory here up in the cloud. Now, if I wanted to rename the file from upload test.txt to say completed upload test.txt, I could do that right here with the blob name. Now, if I do throw that in there and say, oh, completed upload test.txt, and I do have overwrite selected, then what it would do is check if there's already a file in that location. If there is, it's going to overwrite it. If not, we're not going to overwrite that. And it would return back to you with an error on the Automic side. Now, the retry timeout, what does that mean? So it's if we're unable to connect to the Azure instance in the cloud, what we're going to do is retry for X amount of minutes. In this case, the default is 0. So if it doesn't connect immediately, it's going to just tell you, hey, something's wrong. So that's a little bit about the upload job. Let's go over to the exist. Exist is very similar. These first two are the exact same, as I mentioned, connection and the container, same ellipses there. What we can do here, though, is take a look and find all of the files that are txt inside of a container. Now, what we're doing is we're looking inside, as I mentioned, with the query parameters, we're looking inside the folder atomic test. So container, atomic demo, and then inside of that, we have atomic test. And then we're going to say, hey, grab all of the txt files inside of it. We're going to use regex. You're able to use that with most of the integrations today. So if you're familiar with that, you're more than welcome to use it, and it's a very powerful tool. We also can retrieve the blob names. So if we check if it exists, if we want to not only check if it exists, but also see, hey, we want this to be passed into the report, we can put the name in the report server. So if we ran this, you would see the name in the report after the job finished. All right. Next we're going to look at this copy here. So copying, essentially what you're doing is you're moving between two containers. So in this instance, we're moving to the same container. So you have two options, move between two different containers or the same container. And you're not only moving, but you're copying, taking the exact same what we had and then moving it to somewhere else. But as we have with the previous job we were just looking at, you can change the name of the folder that you're moving to. So in this case, we're looking at test.txt for the source blob container or directory, excuse me. So we're looking for it. And if we wanted to, we can also click on the ellipses here and see all of the files available. So we can see all of the files that are inside of the source container, which is the Automic demo here. We still have the file filters, same as prior. If you would like to make this more of a parameterized or dynamic filter, that's what this is for. So if we wanted to change that up, we are more than welcome to. Then we have the destination container. Where are we setting it to? Same container in this instance, and then target directory. So same as before, container, directory, and then file. Then we go and set the name. Check if we're overwriting. If so, then we're going to overwrite the file that we found. If not, we're going to cancel and skip the job. Delete source file after copy. So this is if you would like to, rather than using this, or excuse me, rather than using a move job, you're more than welcome to do this as well. And what that will do is, as mentioned, it'll delete this txt and up in here from the source. Same retry timeout as prior. And we'll go on to the download now. So download is pretty similar to upload, just the exact opposite. Same connection object container, source file path of what we're grabbing from the cloud. We can, same file filter as before, if you're trying to do a dynamic files there. And then we do the target directory. So currently, as mentioned prior, we're on a Linux box. That's why we have opt-rmt, all these forward slashes here. Then we do the target name. So same as before, if we wanted to change the name, which we are doing here, we can do download test.txt, and that's how it's going to be downloaded in the cloud. We also have enable overwrite. So if it's already there, we can overwrite it. Retry timeout, same as prior. Now we also have this other feature here called file permission parameters. Now this is dynamic based off of which OS you're using. So in this instance, we're using Linux. So we're doing the file permissions of how Linux does them. So 775, we can set the owner and the group. Now, if I was to use Windows, I would just, rather than 775, I can set the read, write, and execute, R, W, and X right in here. Same file owner, you just put the name of the administrator, for instance, or if any other users you have on that Windows machine. And file group, I'm pretty sure, is only available for Linux. Now, if on invalid permission settings, you can have the job fail or succeed, depending on what you would like out of the download. All right, let's look at delete. So delete's very simple. All we're doing is looking for the container and then the source of the file that we like to delete. In this case, we're deleting copy test. There's no reason to have a whole bunch of copy tests in our blob. All right, and lastly, but certainly not least, we have the monitor tab, or job, excuse me. So what we have here is a little different than we normally have, which is the monitor job type. So we have generate, update, and create. Now, create, it just monitors, was something created with this name? Update, was this touched? Basically, what does that mean? Do I interact with that file in any way? This job will let us know. Now, generate is both of them. You're going to doing create. If it's created, it'll let you know, or if it's updated, it'll also let you know. Container, same as prior. Then we have the blob name. So we're just looking for the upload txt that we had. We're not using regex here just because, but you're more than welcome to if you would like. Steady state, so this is checking how long am I waiting for that connection back from the Azure instance. So in this case, the default is 60 seconds, it'll wait. And then sleep interval is 60 seconds. So it's going to send out the signal every 60 seconds. It's going to, if the signal takes 60 seconds to get back to it, it takes 45 seconds. It's not going to error out. And then it'll wait 60 seconds again before it sends that signal out again to check on the job. Query parameters, very similar as before. If you were looking to do anything specific with the job, you're more than welcome to do that. And then the return the file URI, that puts it into the report. Okay, now that we've kind of gone over all of the jobs available in the integration, let's take a run at this workflow. So, and just as mentioned prior, just to reiterate, we're uploading a file to the Azure Blob storage. We're going to check if that file got there by if it exists. Then we're going to copy it, download that copy. Then we're going to delete the copy, and then we're going to monitor that the upload is still there. All right, let's execute this and see what happens. All right, I might have been a little too slow on that. Yep, looks like I was. They do run very quickly. So what looks like everything's running correctly here. And if we refresh, yep, perfect. Download is done. So you might be saying, why is the monitor still running? Well, the monitor is going to keep running until it sees something and it's going to put that in a report. So this is a job that's going to forever run until you have it, unless you would like it to stop at some point. That's a little bit about the Azure integration.